So, yeah, this is my story about how my marriage unfolded, straight from the trenches. No sugarcoating, just the raw deal as it happened over the years in this crazy American life. I'll break it into 5 parts, because it's a long one, but trust me, each chunk has its own twists that kept me up at night. It all started back when I was grinding through my mid-20s, fresh out of a community college program in business admin, landing a gig at this mid-sized logistics firm in the M. I was the new hire in accounts payable, buried in invoices and spreadsheets, trying to make sense of truck routes and supplier drama. That's where I first noticed him. He was in operations, always the guy troubleshooting delays with that calm demeanor that made chaotic days feel manageable. We didn't click right away, it was more like a slow burn. Our first real interaction was during a team building event, one of those mandatory outings to a local bowling alley where everyone pretends to have fun while nursing cheap beer. He ended up on my lane, and instead of the usual small talk, we got into this deep dive about how supply chains are basically the unsung heroes of modern life, laughing over how, he had this way of listening, really listening, not just waiting for his turn to speak, which was refreshing after dating a string of guys who treated conversations like auditions. Weeks turned into months, and we'd grab coffee during breaks, sharing stories about growing up in dysfunctional families, mine with parents who divorced when I was a kid, his with a. One evening, after a brutal deadline, he suggested we hit up a drive-through for burgers instead of heading home separately. That turned into late-night talks in his beat-up sedan, parked under flickering streetlights, discussing everything from politics to why reality TV is both trash and genius. I remember the first kiss happened spontaneously after he dropped me off at my apartment complex. It wasn't fireworks or anything cinematic, just a genuine moment where I leaned in. From there, dating was easy at first weekend hikes in nearby state parks, bingy, watching shows on his couch with takeout pizza, and those quiet moments where we just exist together. But here's where it got real. About 6 months in, he confessed he'd been in therapy for anxiety from a rough childhood, something he hadn't shared with past partners. Instead of scaring me off, it drew me closer. I opened up about my own bouts with depression in college. We navigated that together, attending a couples workshop at a community center, learning communication tools that actually stuck. By year one, we were living together in a rented duplex, splitting bills and chores like pros. He cooked most nights, simple stuff like grilled cheese with tomato soup upgraded with herbs from our tiny balcony garden, and I'd handle the laundry, folding his shirts with that art. Work promotions came for both of us. I moved up to senior accountant, he to logistics coordinator, and we celebrated with a road trip to a national park, camping under stars that ep. But subtle tensions crept in. His long hours meant canceled plans. My perfectionism led to nitpicking about household stuff. We argued about money for the first time when I wanted to splurge on a new couch, and he preferred saving for emergencies. It wasn't dramatic, just those everyday frictions that test if you're built for the long haul. Looking back, that first part was about building foundations, layer by layer, without realizing how shaky some bricks were. We got engaged on a whim during a holiday weekend, him proposing with a simple band at a lakeside picnic, no grand gestures, just us. Wedding planning was low-key. A courthouse ceremony followed by a backyard barbecue with close friends and family, everyone toasting with plastic cups. Moving into married life felt seamless at first. We bought a starter home in the suburbs, a fixer-upper with creaky floors and a yard begging for attention. Mornings started with coffee rituals. He'd brew a pot while I scrolled news on my phone, and evenings wound down with walks around the block, waving at neighbors walking their dogs. But reality hit when we decided to try for kids. Months of negative tests led to specialist visits, poking and prodding that made intimacy feel clinical. He was supportive, holding my hand through appointments, but I sensed his frustration mirroring mine. That's when the first unexpected twist came during a routine checkup. Doctors found a benign tumor in him that explained some fertility issues. Surgery fixed it, but the recovery period tested us. He was bedridden for weeks, and I juggled work, caregiving, and my own emotional roller coaster. It brought us closer in weird ways. We'd lie in bed sharing fears about the future, vowing to adopt if needed. Post recovery, passion reignited, and boom, I got pregnant. The pregnancy was textbook: morning sickness, cravings for pickles and ice cream, ultrasounds showing a healthy baby girl. Delivery was intense, hours of labor in a hospital room with beeping machines, but holding her changed everything. Parenthood shifted dynamics. Sleep deprivation led to snappy arguments, like when he'd forget to restock diapers, or I'd criticize his swaddling technique. We hired a part-time nanny from a local agency, which helped, but balancing careers meant constant negotiation. He took paternity leave, bonding with the baby while I returned to work sooner than planned for a big project. Jealousy flickered when I'd come home to them napping peacefully, feeling like an outsider in my own family. But we pushed through, attending parenting classes at the community library, learning to co-parent effectively. Vacations became family affairs, driving to beach towns, building sandcastles, and capturing moments on our phones. Yet, beneath the surface, I started noticing his withdrawal. He'd stare at his laptop late at night, claiming work emails, but his eyes told a different story. One night, I confronted him, and he admitted feeling lost in his career, stuck in middle management while I climbed the ladder. That vulnerability sparked therapy sessions again, this time as a couple, unpacking resentments I didn't know I harbored. It wasn't all doom, we had highs, like her first steps in our living room, or family game nights with board games scattered on the coffee table. By the end of this phase, our daughter was toddling around, and we were navigating the toddler tantrums with a mix of humor and exhaustion. Little did I know, the next twist was brewing quietly. As our daughter hit preschool age, life ramped up, drop-offs at a local daycare center, where she'd come home with finger paintings and stories about circle time. I got promoted to finance manager, overseeing a team, which meant longer hours and travel to conferences in other states. He supported it outwardly, packing lunches and handling bedtime routines, but I caught glimpses of strain in his forced smiles. We renovated the kitchen, tearing out old cabinets for sleek modern ones, arguing over tile choices but compromising on granite countertops. Weekends were for home improvement projects or park outings, pushing her on swings while discussing mundane things like grocery lists. Intimacy evolved, stolen moments after she slept, quick and passionate, reminding us of pre-kid days. But then came the curveball. During a work trip to the East Coast, I met a colleague from another branch, a sharp-minded analyst who challenged my ideas in meetings. Nothing happened, but the intellectual spark made me question if our marriage had grown stale. Back home, guilt gnawed at me, leading to overcompensation, surprise date nights at chain restaurants, trying new recipes from online blogs. He noticed, probing gently, and I confessed the flirtation without details, expecting anger but getting understanding instead. "We're human," he said, pulling me close. That honesty reignited us. We planned a kid-free weekend getaway to a bed, and breakfast in the countryside, reconnecting over hikes and wine tastings. But life doesn't pause. Our daughter started kindergarten at the public school down the road, backpack slung over her tiny shoulders, waving goodbye with excitement. School involvement pulled us in different directions. I volunteered for PTA fundraisers, baking cookies for bake sales, while he coached her soccer team on weekends, yelling in core. Financially, we were stable, paying down the mortgage, contributing to college funds, but unexpected medical bills from his earlier surgery dipped into savings. We cut back on luxuries, opting for staycations over flights. Then, the plot thickened. He got laid off during company restructuring, a blow that left him reeling. Job hunting became his full-time gig, resumes flying out while I covered bills. He took on freelance consulting, working from our home office cluttered with papers and coffee mugs. The shift in roles unsettled me. I missed his confidence, replaced by self-doubt during dinner conversations. Support groups online helped him. Forums where laid-off professionals shared tips. I encouraged him to pursue a passion project, a side hustle in custom woodworking, turning our garage into a workshop with sawdust everywhere. It started small, selling pieces at local flea markets, but gained traction via social media posts. Our daughter loved helping, hammering nails under supervision. Amid this, I faced my own crisis, a high-stakes audit at work that consumed me, leading to burnout. He stepped up, cooking meals and running errands, role reversal that humbled me. One evening, over homemade lasagna, he announced landing interviews, spirits lifting. But twist, during his job search, he reconnected with an old college friend online, a woman now divorced, sharing career advice that bordered on emotional support. I stumbled upon messages while borrowing his phone, innocent but intimate, stirring jealousy I hadn't felt before. Confrontation ensued in our living room after bedtime. Voices hushed but heated. He apologized, deleting contacts, vowing transparency. It shook us, prompting more therapy, exploring boundaries in digital age. We emerged stronger, implementing phone check-ins and date rules. As he secured a new position at a rival firm, better pay and remote options, relief washed over. Family life stabilized, holidays with turkey dinners, decorating trees with handmade ornaments. Yet, subtle changes lingered. I pursued a certification course evenings, balancing ambition with home. Our daughter thrived, reading chapter books and joining dance classes at the rec center. Looking ahead, we dreamed of vacations abroad once finances allowed. But fate had other plans, lurking in the shadows. With stability regained, we settled into a rhythm, mornings rushing out the door with lunchboxes, evenings unwinding with board game. Our daughter, now in elementary school, brought home report cards glowing with praise, her artwork plastered on the fridge. I advanced to director level, managing budgets for multi-million projects, traveling more frequently to corporate headquarters. He adapted to his new role, thriving in a hybrid setup that allowed family time. We celebrated anniversaries with quiet dinners at home, toasting with affordable wine, reflecting on milestones. But then the unexpected hit like a freight train. During a routine mammogram, they found a lump in me, biopsy confirming early-stage breast cancer. Shock rippled through our world. Appointments flooded the calendar, oncologists, surgeons, radiologists in sterile hospital corridors. He was my rock, researching treatments late nights, accompanying me to chemo sessions where I'd grip his hand through nausea. Our daughter sensed the tension, asking questions we answered appropriately, assuring her mommy would be okay. Community rallied, neighbors dropping casseroles, coworkers sending cards. Treatment was grueling, hair loss led to wigs from specialty shops, fatigue confining me to bed. He juggled work, school runs, and caregiving, exhaustion etching lines on his face. Intimacy paused, replaced by tender hugs and whispered reassurances. Midway through, a complication arose, infection post-surgery requiring hospitalization. Alone in the ward at night, doubts crept in. Was our marriage strong enough? He visited daily, smuggling in my favorite snacks past nurses. Recovery brought perspective. I quit climbing the corporate ladder, shifting to part-time consulting from home. He supported, even suggesting we downsize the house for less stress. But twist. During my remission checkups, we discovered he had been hiding financial strain, using credit cards for uncovered medical costs to shield me. Revelation came via mail statements I opened accidentally. Anger flared. Why hide it? He explained fear of burdening me further. We refinanced, attended financial counseling at a nonprofit center. Bonds deepened through adversity, but scars remained. Our daughter adapted, drawing get well cards that melted hearts. Post-treatment, we focused on health gym memberships at the local Y, meal prepping salads and smoothies. Travel resumed modestly, a cross-country drive to visit national monuments, singing along to radio tunes. Yet, another layer unfolded. I joined a survivor support group online, connecting with women sharing stories. One became a close friend, video chats turning confessional. She encouraged exploring suppressed dreams, inspired. I started a blog about resilience, anonymized entries gaining followers. He read them, proud but quietly envious of my outlet. Tension simmered when my writing time cut into family evenings. Argument peaked one night over neglected chores. He accused me of prioritizing virtual strangers. Hurt, I retreated, but morning apologies bridged gaps. We instituted tech free zones, reclaiming connection. As years ticked, our daughter entered middle school, braces and awkward phases in tow. School events, concerts, science fairs kept us engaged. But the big twist loomed during a family vacation to a coastal rental. I overheard him on a call, tone secretive. Snooping his phone later revealed messages to a lawyer about estate planning, but deeper dig uncovered emails about a sibling he never mentioned, a half-brother from his mom's past. Confronted on the beach, waves crashing, he broke down, shame kept it hidden, fearing judgment. Processing took time, therapy unpacked family secrets. We met the brother eventually, a cross-state drive to a neutral diner, awkward introductions evolving into tentative bonds. It reshaped our narrative, adding complexity. Back home, life adjusted. Holidays now included extended invites. My blog evolved into a podcast, interviewing survivors, balancing with family. He pursued woodworking seriously, opening an online shop. Equilibrium felt fragile but real. Little suspected the storm ahead. Teenage years hit our daughter like a whirlwind. High school dramas, friend conflicts, first crushes shared over kitchen table talks. We navigated curfews and phone rules, grounding her after a party mishap involving snuck beer. My consulting grew, clients nationwide via video calls, affording college savings boosts. His business boomed, custom furniture pieces shipping out, garage upgraded to a proper studio. We remodeled the basement into a home gym, sweating out stresses together. Intimacy returned in waves, weekend mornings lingering in bed while she slept in. But cracks appeared, empty nest looming. We discussed future plans, retirement accounts, perhaps RV travels. Then the bombshell. At a routine physical, he was diagnosed with early onset Parkinson's, tremors he'd dismissed as stress now explained. Devastation struck. Specialists outlined meds, therapies at rehab centers. I researched endlessly, joining caregiver forums for tips. Daily life adapted, installing handrails, adjusting diets for anti-inflammatory foods. He downplayed, but frustration mounted with dropped tools in his workshop. Our daughter, home from college breaks, helped with chores, her maturity shining. Emotional toll weighed, arguments flared over his stubborn independence, refusing aids. One night, after a bad day, he lashed out, accusing me of pity. Hurt spiraled into silence, broken by couples counseling at a clinic specializing in chronic illness. Sessions revealed my own fears, losing him slowly. We committed to adaptive hobbies. He taught woodworking classes at community colleges. I moderated online panels. Twist emerged through his classes. He bonded with a student, a young widow sharing lost stories. Jealousy ignited when I saw flirty texts, nothing explicit, but enough. Confrontation in our driveway, rain pouring, led to admissions, emotional affair for validation amid decline. Betrayal stung, but context softened blows, his vulnerability exposed. We separated temporarily. He stayed with his half-brother, I with our daughter in her apartment. Space allowed reflection, therapy solo, and joint-peeled layers. Reconciliation tentative. Rules set, no secrets, renewed vows in a private ceremony at home. Life resumed altered, his condition stabilized with new treatments, clinical trials at university hospitals. I pivoted careers, launching a nonprofit for illness support, fundraising via Galaz. Our daughter graduated, landing a job in tech, visits frequent. But another pivot during a nonprofit event, I reconnected with that old colleague, now single, sparks flying innocently over coffee. Guilt halted pursuit, but it awakened self-doubt. Had I settled? Confessing to him over dinner, expecting explosion, Got empathy instead, explore if needed. Shocked, I declined, recommitting. Yet, the real shocker, digging into family history for our daughter's genealogy project, uncovered my own secret. A paternity test revealing my dad wasn't biological, mom confessing. Identity crisis ensued, therapy delved into roots. He supported, driving to meet potential relatives traced via ancestry sites. Bonds formed, holidays expanded. Equilibrium restored, but with wisdom from chaos. Approaching empty nest fully, with our daughter independent in a coastal city, we downsized to a condo overlooking a park, easier days filled with routines, morning walks with his cane, afternoons and shared hobbies like gardening on the balcony. My nonprofit thrived, grants funding programs, travel for conferences balanced with home time. Intimacy adapted slower but deeper, focusing on connection over physicality. We volunteered together at shelters, serving meals, finding purpose. But final twist, during a checkup, his Parkinson's progressed faster than expected, requiring assisted living discussions. Resistance led to research on experimental therapies abroad, but costs prohibitive. Then, lottery luck, literally a scratch. Off ticket from a gas station won big, enough for treatment and security. Skepticism turned to joy. We flew overseas for procedures at cutting-edge clinics, hope reignited. Recovery in foreign hotels, exploring markets hand in hand, rekindled adventure. Back stateside, improvements noticeable, tremors lessened, energy up. We RV'd cross-country, visiting landmarks, campfires sharing life lessons. Our daughter joined segments, family united. Reflections deepened, marriage wasn't perfect, but resilient through twists. No fairy tale end, just ongoing chapters in this American dream turned real.